She is a black lesbo, which means she doesn't eat pussy.
Until I say coconut cream pie, don't say another fucking word to her.
Did you know that Tony Hinchcliffe, the roast master, started as a shy kid in Ohio? Hard to believe, right? He struggled to fit in. He always watched from the sidelines, his humor locked inside. But what if I told you that same quiet kid is now one of the sharpest, most fearless voices in stand-up comedy? After overcoming early struggles, Tony became the host of Kill Tony. There, he roasts comedians and anyone brave enough to take the mic. He turned his challenges into a sharp career. So, how did he go from being the quiet kid to the king of comedy burns? Let's dive into Tony Hinchcliffe's unique path and see what makes him the ultimate roast master in comedy. Tony Hinchcliffe's early life and parents. Tony Hinchcliffe was born on June 8, 1984, in Youngstown, Ohio. The city is known for its gritty, working-class roots. Growing up wasn't easy. He was raised by a single mother who did most of the heavy lifting. Without much money or a traditional support system, Tony often felt like he had to figure things out on his own. His humor became both a shield and a tool, helping him navigate the rougher edges of life in Youngstown. His family was not typical, but those early experiences taught him resilience. They also gave him a keen eye for people's flaws. He later used this in his comedy. His tough upbringing and sharp wit set the stage for his future in stand-up. He would become known as one of the sharpest comedians in the business. Where did Tony Hinchcliffe study? Tony Hinchcliffe attended Ursuline High School in Youngstown, Ohio. It was during these high school years that he first started developing his unique sense of humor. He had no formal training in comedy, but he had a knack for roasting and a quick wit. They helped him cope with bullying and stand out among his peers. Ursuline High School was where he first tested his comedy skills. It foreshadowed his future career in stand-up. After high school, he skipped college. He moved to Los Angeles to dive into the comedy scene. He began performing at open mics and eventually broke into the industry. Tony Hinchcliffe's early career. Hinchcliffe's early career was all about hustle and grit. After moving to Los Angeles, he dove into the stand-up scene. He performed at open mics and slowly worked his way up. He had no connections or easy way in, so he relied on his sharp writing and unfiltered style to catch people's attention. In 2007, he landed a job at the Comedy Store, initially just answering phones and doing odd jobs around the club. But this entry-level job became a golden opportunity. He was surrounded by some of the top comedians in the industry. He began to soak in everything he could. Working at the Comedy Store gave him stage access. He quickly became known for his ruthless roasting style and fearless approach. Hinchcliffe's big break came as a writer on Comedy Central's The Burn with Jeff Ross. His roasting and dark humor perfectly matched the show's tone. His reputation as a cutting-edge comedian grew from there. It set the foundation for his hit podcast, Kill Tony. It gave him a platform to roast, mentor, and collaborate with up-and-coming comedians. These early years saw relentless hard work and strategic networking. He developed a unique comedic voice that would define his career. Tony Hinchcliffe's political career. Tony Hinchcliffe hasn't ventured into politics as a career. His comedy often touches on political and social themes. It's usually satirical or observational, not aligning with a specific ideology. Tony is known for his edgy, controversial humor. He pushes boundaries and makes jokes about current events and political figures. His roasting tone leaves no side unscathed. He has no political career. But his stand-up and podcasts sometimes comment on politics. They are from a comedian's, not a politician's perspective. His style seeks to provoke thought or laughter. It aims to entertain, not advocate politically. Tony Hinchcliffe's professional career. Tony Hinchcliffe's career is defined by his unique comedy. It's known for his talent for roasting and his quick, unscripted humor. Tony started as an opener for top comics at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles. His big break came when he joined The Burn with Jeff Ross as a writer. His skill in crafting sharp, edgy jokes suited the roasting genre. It gained him a reputation as a top writer and roaster in comedy. So he wrote for major Comedy Central roasts. They included the roasts of James Franco and Justin Bieber. His work behind the scenes established him as a trusted name in roast writing. In 2013, Tony launched his hit podcast, Kill Tony. It's a live show where aspiring comedians perform 1-minute sets. Then, Tony and a guest panel of comedians give them feedback and roast them. This podcast became a cult favorite. Fans loved its unpredictability and its mix of brutal honesty and humor. Kill Tony gave Tony a global platform. It reached audiences beyond traditional comedy clubs. Tony's stand-up career took off. He began headlining tours, bringing his edgy, unapologetic comedy to audiences nationwide. Tony Hinchcliffe is known for pushing boundaries and challenging norms. His career is built on a fearless style, a dedication to his craft, and a willingness to take risks. He does this whether on stage, a podcast, or a roast panel. Tony Hinchcliffe's challenges and comebacks. Tony Hinchcliffe's career has had its fair share of challenges and comebacks. Tony is known for his bold, unfiltered comedy. He often pushes boundaries and courts controversy. In 2021, a viral clip of one of his performances sparked backlash for its offensive content. The incident drew public criticism. It caused some show cancellations and the suspension of some business deals. For many comedians, facing this level of controversy could mean a serious career setback. But Tony's comeback was a testament to his resilience and dedication to his craft. Instead of shying away, he doubled down on his comedy. He stayed true to his style while refining his approach. His podcast, Kill Tony, engaged fans and built a loyal following. They appreciated his raw honesty and humor. His ability to handle controversy, adapt, and keep his audience engaged showed he could bounce back from setbacks. Today, Tony is a comedy icon. He's known for his roasts and his grit. He is always trying to improve. His challenges have shaped him. They added grit to his work. They proved that, in comedy, the best comeback is to be authentic. When did Tony Hinchcliffe rise to fame? Tony Hinchcliffe's rise to fame began in the early 2010s. It grew after he joined The Burn with Jeff Ross as a writer in 2012. His knack for sharp, edgy roasts was a perfect fit for the show. He quickly gained recognition in the comedy community. This led to opportunities to write for Comedy Central's Celebrity Roasts. He contributed to the roast of James Franco 2013 and the roast of Justin Bieber 2015. His talent for brutal but clever jokes made him a sought-after roast writer. However, his fame truly skyrocketed with the launch of his podcast, Kill Tony, in 2013. The show's unique format drew a massive following. Comedians performed 1-minute sets and got immediate, often ruthless feedback. Kill Tony became a cult hit, and as the host, Tony's reputation as a sharp-tongued, fearless comedian only grew. By blending roasting with mentorship, he found a niche. It showcased his comedic style and attracted a loyal audience. This solidified his status as a top figure in modern comedy. Tony Hinchcliffe's relationship. Tony Hinchcliffe is married to Charlotte Jane, an Australian model and musician. They've kept their relationship mostly private, but they sometimes share glimpses of their life together on social media. Charlotte's arts background complements Tony's comedy career. Both prefer to keep their personal lives out of the spotlight. Tony Hinchcliffe Awards. Tony Hinchcliffe hasn't won major awards like an Emmy or Grammy. He's highly respected in the comedy community. This is due to his work in roasting and his podcast, Kill Tony. Kill Tony hasn't won awards, but it has a devoted fan base. It is acclaimed for its unique platform for new comedians. Hinchcliffe is known for his humor and writing. His peers and fans admire his fearlessness. His work on Comedy Central roasts and with comedians like Jeff Ross earned him this reputation. He has no official awards, but his influence in stand-up and podcasts is well known. Tony Hinchcliffe's net worth 2024. As of 2024, Tony Hinchcliffe's net worth is estimated to be around $10 million. This wealth reflects his successful career as a comedian, writer, and podcast host. His podcast, Kill Tony, and his stand-up specials and roasts have made him famous and rich. Also, his touring and work with famous comedians have boosted his income. Tony Hinchcliffe's legacy and impact. Tony Hinchcliffe's legacy in comedy is his fearless roasting and his work in the modern comedy scene. His unique style is bold, often controversial, and quick-witted. It has earned him a reputation for pushing boundaries. He engages audiences with fresh, unscripted formats. His work on The Burn with Jeff Ross and Comedy Central's roasts made him a top writer in roast comedy. His influence extended to his podcast, Kill Tony. It became a key platform for new comedians. The show lets aspiring comedians get real-time feedback from Tony and guest comedians. It blends humor with mentorship. The result is an entertaining, educational experience. Kill Tony has a global fan base. It has let Tony mentor and showcase new talent. His bold style and commitment to being real have inspired a new generation of comedians. They value comedy as an art that embraces risk and challenges social norms. Despite some controversy, Tony's impact is strong. He continues to innovate in stand-up and podcasting. He has left a lasting mark on comedy. Tony Hinchcliffe's house and cars. Tony Hinchcliffe now lives in Austin, Texas. He moved there in recent years with other famous comedians like Joe Rogan. This move was part of a trend. Many comedians relocated to Austin. They were drawn by its comedy scene, lower taxes, and a more laid-back lifestyle than Los Angeles. Hinchcliffe's new home base in Austin lets him perform often at local venues. His favorite is Rogan's Comedy Club, the Comedy Mothership. It's a hotspot for the city's comedy scene. This setting has strengthened his bond with the Austin comedy community. It also suits his podcast, Kill Tony. He still hosts it for a dedicated live and online audience. This Austin residency suits his career. He is an active performer and host. It reinforces his influence in modern comedy. There's limited information available about Tony Hinchcliffe's specific car collection. He hasn't shown any cars or detailed his collection in interviews. But he discusses his interests on his podcast, Kill Tony, and on social media. If his car collection or preferences are mentioned in the future, Tony Hinchcliffe's comedy journey is one of resilience and boldness. His unique roasting style has set him apart in the industry. Tony's rise from Youngstown to global stages inspires fans and wannabe comedians. His fearless approach is the cause. His podcast, Kill Tony, and his relentless touring have made him a key figure in modern stand-up comedy. Tony Hinchcliffe has, for better or worse, impacted comedy. His humor is edgy. Watch this roast master as he evolves and entertains. In comedy, Tony's just getting started. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more on your favorite comedians.